threw it in a cabinet somewhere. And when I was 6 years old, I was sitting eating cereal, and this cabinet door kind of pops open, and I just see this like hideous creature, and I'm just like, "Mommy, like what is that?" And she was like, "Oh, don't be scared. It's just a two-headed cat floating in formaldehyde." And I was just like, "Can I take that to show and tell?" Yeah. And she was like, "Yeah." And I smashed show and tell for like 8 years. I just ran it back the same trick every year.
Usually I don't do this.
Chef Dyke Michael's making food, and he's making comedy too. Thaddeus J. McKee is co-hosting with the guy I mentioned previously. Sauce Boss Zach's on the 1 to 2, so good he calls them 2s and 3s. And as always, there's a guest who'll be sure to please on Harder Brunch.
Hi, and welcome to the Harder Brunch Podcast. I'm your host, Dyke Michaels, and with me, as always, my co-host, Thaddeus J. McKee.
SP Dub.
On the 1s and 2s, the Wheels of Steel, the Sauce Boss of Indianapolis, and the Last Woke Dragon. Give it up for Zach Rohn.
Hey there.
And a very special guest with us in studio, dressed to the nines, Heather Brogden, everybody. Welcome to the program.
Hello, hello.
Can we have you get up, make sure you're right up there on the mic there so we can hear your wonderful voice.
Yep.
Welcome to the program. Heather, you're an entrepreneur in the city of Indianapolis. And I said when you came in, I was like, she does a bunch of cool things, and I don't want to misrepresent any of them. So could you explain for our listeners kind of what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say in a lot of ways, I'm an artist through entrepreneurship. I have a background in photojournalism, telling stories. I've made that into a career through my entrepreneurial 9 to 5, because as you said, we all kind of do many hats and all the different things these days. But I own Porch, which is a corporate communications type company. We serve mostly nonprofit corporations and government agencies. And so really excited by that. We're located in Fountain Square. And outside of that, I love the culinary arts scene, all arts and culture, Indianapolis, live downtown, just love being involved in all things ooey gooey and bright colored.
So you're kind of like the one who walks betwixt the tribes of art and the business world.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And love to just definitely like sew the different things together and surprise people and have fun with it too.
Now, does Porch like an acronym? Does it stand for something, or what was the inspiration behind that?
Oh, good story. Because we actually just rebranded last year, coming up on a 1-year anniversary of that rebrand. And we were previously called B Media House. I launched it in 2015. I had a wedding video company before that. And so a little bit of my pandemic story is actually went back to my grandparents' farm and spent a bit of my quarantine in a little studio with my dogs. And that kind of brought back a lot of just childhood stuff. And it was really great experience. And I remember spending a lot of time on the porch with my grandfather. And I was kind of reflecting on that. And I thought, porch is where stories are told and character is developed. And I was like, that's going to be our new name. So I really just loved that and had a story element for us. And it's really what I'd love to be able to share with people. So that's kind of why we rebranded to Porch, where stories are told and character is developed.
Now, what stories was your grandpa telling?
Oh, man. That was just, we went out on the porch all the time. We lived there for about 3 years, but other than that, I'd always go spend at least a week in the winter and a week in the summer. Nice. And it was part of a daily. Like, you get a cocktail and sometimes some cheese or like a little shrimp cocktail if he was extra fancy from like Walmart that day. This was in southern Indiana, kind of outside Bloomington. And we go to the porch and, he tells some stories like about his parents and land, but we'd also talk about like philosophical stuff. Nice. Like some stuff like really sticks with me still today. Like he asked me once, and I think about this, and he goes, if you stand really quiet, it's almost impossible today to hear something that's not man-made.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think about that. Like, he's like, how remote do you have to get to where you don't hear anything man-made? Yeah. So usually you hear like a plane or, so we would just like, I don't know, he'd just probably get drunk on gin and tonics. I had my sweet tea and was like, what conversation are we having right now? I don't know, but this is awesome.
Yeah. But those are the memories that stick with you.
Yeah.
I think that's great that you incorporated that into your business. Sometimes when you ask people like their business name, it's just kind of, I thought it sounded cool, or thought it would hit the algorithm right.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I took a word and I shortened it, and then I spelled it differently.
My company's called Pour, POR. Oh my gosh, that's great. So, you also are involved. What is the popcorn?
Yeah. So, as mentioned, love arts and culture and love food. When I started traveling a little bit more in my 20s, I looked at food as like, no matter where you are, that's a language that you can understand in different countries that I really found was like a fun thing that I could have with traveling. And in Indianapolis has had with our farm to table and like certain things, we've had some really cool moments in the food scene. So I've gotten involved in that about 2015 and just really enjoyed what's given me. And so through a hodgepodge of things, I have ended up partnering with Culinary Crossroads and Larry Dickerson with my co-chair, Gwen Marcantonio. And her and I have been working on launching an initiative for young professionals in the culinary arts. So just putting on programming geared to be more fun, inclusive, and like really showcase what Indiana culinary arts has to offer, and just bringing together different communities and stakeholders like do fun shit.
What would be an example of like an event that you guys would do?
Yeah, so everything right now is just in those preliminary conversations. But we're looking at hosting like a fall happy hour kind of networking event.
Nice.
So having a little bit of that, like maybe some tastings from a couple chefs, maybe incorporating something with music or art. So, we all participated in the Baby Got Brunch and saw how much fun something like that is. Now that's more on like a festival scale to like kudos to them. We're not that ambitious right now. We're going to go more on like that, probably 50 to 100 people and maybe even some like more curated dinners. So a little bit smaller, but really looking at unique venues, showcasing off what we have to offer, connecting people with people they may not necessarily run into, we're looking at maybe cooking classes. I think it'd be really fun to like, learn how to make pasta and like have that be like a way to meet people and get out. That's, a little bit different energy level.
Yeah, and I could tell just immediately from meeting you, you're one of the people that really loves this city and like wants it to be better or to evolve. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that like you were talking a bit earlier off camera. You were talking to us about how much Indianapolis puts into like say sports versus how much they put into arts and stuff, and wanting to be on the forefront of growing that, like that got me excited, that got me perked up, that got me like invested right away. I was like, oh wow, like because I definitely feel that way. I feel like a lot of people do, and I don't think that they know how to go about improving that. Yeah.
And that's been like something for me kind of post pandemic that's like really taken off, is like, oh man, I want to be in this space. Oh man, I want to be a part of this energy, and I want to like stand on this cliff and yell about this. Like I want to do this like loud and like eccentric and like, let's do this. Right. And so I think like just really from utilizing some of my perspective that I've had in more of the business communities and like unpacking like, what do we value here and like what do we see and what's marketed, what's all of these different things, and breaking it down from more of that business perspective. That's where I get even more passionate, because actually like the more I've gotten to know the community, the more I've been able to see how we have cultivated the sports economy that we have. I mean, Indiana Sports Corp is like amazing. And they produced a documentary to tell that story and premiered it at Gamebridge, and going to that experience was so much fun. And, Sarah Myers doing really cool things over there. And, just looking at how we've been able to make things a success in this community. And then being the like obnoxious person with cloud sunglasses and a third eye in the room that goes, can we do that for arts and culture? Can we do that some more? So yeah, and there's also some other people that are like doing amazing work in this. I mean, Gang is really like making strides, and there's folks in Fountain Square at the music industry, and like what you guys are doing with comedy. Like there's just so many people. Heron School, like a friend of mine that does pottery, and she's like so badass, and just realizing like, man, we've got so much greatness here for this. But like most things in Indiana, one of our biggest issues is the brain drain. Everybody wants to leave. Everybody takes their Midwest trauma and they go to the coast and they sell it for more.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to kind of curate a culture for that more, where it's like, hey, let's invest here a bit.
Now, how do you vet? Because like you want to partner with like a lot of the good artists here, like, and so I'm sure people are like asking you for help. But how do you vet like the artists that you want to work with, or how do you choose? What's that process?
I would say to a certain extent, I'm like, I have this from like the corporate side of like what I do and like through my business where, you know, I'm kind of that more entrepreneur and like, I do love mentoring and I kind of bring from that. But honestly, I don't find us now, this is my experience thus far. I'm, you know, kind of getting into this, but I've not had a lot of people reach out to me. And I think some of that's because I'm not out there as much as I'd like to be with some of this because, you know, I gotta run things and it's still kind of got some stuff to do to pay my mortgage. But really looking at like, I'd like to be in a position where I'm having more people reach out. I'm still continuously reaching out as it stands and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So,
well, one of the things we obviously do here on Harder Brunch is we eat a big brunch together.
Yeah.
And you gotta be here for a very special day, 40 Eggs Day.
40 eggs.
40 eggs. Can you believe it? Friend of the show, Rocky Balboa. He starts off every day eating 40 eggs.
40 eggs a day.
And so we wanted to see if we could collectively eat 40 eggs, and we did it. We actually did it. We ate 40 eggs. It was actually easier than I thought when you split it amongst more than one person. And actually, you kind of came on the show last minute, so I was like worried. Like when I asked, I was like, "Give any food?" I was like, "She's gonna say she's allergic to eggs. I can feel it coming." She's gonna be like, "Oh,
that would be comedic genius
Oh,
to be 40 eggs brunch and invite the girl who's allergic to eggs."
Anything but eggs, I think, is good. I'm definitely allergic to eggs.
I could only have 39 eggs.
Yeah. I'm allergic to a specific number of eggs.
I can't do a 40 egg brunch.
Oh no.
Seems bad.
And my favorite is when people are like, "Oh, I'll eat whatever." I'm like, "Awesome." And so you came in wide open to any culinary ability or expectations. And so as soon as I saw you wearing that dress, I was like, she came to have a good time. She came here for fun. And so I didn't feel weird about saying we're doing 40 eggs today. It's the least weird thing that's happened to me today.
I set the ante at
set the level high.
Yeah, all right. I feel that was kind of a goal with as we kind of talked about like costuming and certain things and having fun with it. But that was so good.
It's not often when the guest sets the bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we not being weird enough?
Hey guys.
Oh, no.
Yeah. My pleasure. Curtsies.
So, we obviously do a lot of egg dishes around here. It's a brunch podcast. So I was trying to think of some different things. And also sometimes, a lot of times Zach and I will split the menu and then we won't tell each other what we're making till later in the week. But then we have to check to make sure we're not making the same thing. He kind of told me what he was doing. And I was like, okay, I want to do some different egg dishes. So I started off the first course with, steak tartare deviled eggs.
So good.
So delicious.
And a combination of two favorites. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was fun to make. My grandma growing up, I've probably said this a million times, but my grandma growing up, my grandma was from France. Mm-hmm. And growing up, she always made deviled eggs with ham and like Dijon mustard, no paprika, no garnish of any kind. It was either ham or shrimp.
Shrimp?
She would do ham and shrimp deviled eggs.
I could see that kind of from a French perspective.
And so I was probably in my like early teens before I had like a regular deviled egg. And I was like, what is this? Like, what's wrong with like, where's all the cool stuff in it? Like, why is there red dust on top of this?
That was the shrimp.
And was the shrimp dust? No.
I could boo that one. Probably
not quick enough. No.
It's kind of a moment when
statute of limitations is passed.
Oh, good.
But yeah, so I love playing around with different kind of, and then like now, like, years and years later, obviously you go into a fancy restaurant and you'll see all kinds of, different takes on deviled eggs, and I love it. I'm here for it. So, I did kind of like the classic deviled egg base, just kind of hold it on there on the plate there, and then just stuffed it full of steak tartare. And then my favorite thing was just a cured egg which is something I wish I would use more, but it takes like 4 or 5 days to get a good cure on it. And it's always like, I should have started that Tuesday. I always forget. So I got ahead of the game this week and I cured some eggs and I got it. And you just shave those cured eggs on top. And like, I don't know. I'll put that on almost anything. Like a nice little cured egg.
I mean, I think that's impressive. I'm really proud of myself if I remember to let the meat get to room temperature before I'm going to cook it. I'm like, I feel real good if I'm like prepping something 4 or 5 hours before. So 4 or 5 days, those are goals.
Brunch
that is awesome.
Brunch is always top of mind for me. That's
not a bad way to live.
The second this podcast is over, I'm just on what am I cooking next week. It's already on the to-do list. And then Zach Rohn made an amazing second course. Why don't you tell us about it there, Zach?
I did a shashuka, which was like a poached eggs and a tomato sauce. There was olives and capers and then like some cumin and stuff in the tomato sauce. Then I served it with some crusty bread.
Yeah.
Well, is that what the name of the bread is? Krusty's?
Yeah, crusty.
Crusty bread?
Yeah, crusty
From
bread.
Indy? Oh, Krusty's in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a dish that I could eat that every week. I feel like it's always, I'm never going to turn that down. My only problem is I always want to put too much and make it like a full pasta dish. Then I'm like,
I've got so much sauce left over.
Yeah.
I got way too much sauce for the eggs that I cooked. But yeah, I did like 10 eggs there.
oh wow.
Yeah.
But the consistency was really nice. It was like kind of soupy, but had the like girth to it. Was really, and we were kind of talking that, like that it was like very comforting.
Yes.
Like it was a comfort food that also packed like really nice flavor and punch.
Yeah.
Like it felt like I mean, obviously if I'm trying to remember to marinate things, not a comfort food I'm necessarily being able to make at home, but it tastes like a home cooked type of comfort food, but elevated.
Honestly, if I was sick, I would want that. That
As
is
opposed
what
to
I'm
like soup or something.
Oh.
now. I'm ruined.
Yeah,
honestly,
because like my mom can't make that. If I
Yeah.
was like, Mom, this is my comfort food. I'm sick. Please make this. She'd be like, well, you're gonna have to go get that.
I don't want to undersell the olive taste in it as well. The olives and the tapers together, it gave this nice little how do you say
Saltiness?
saltiness, not sourness, a little bit of that bitter, sour olive taste. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right with I was like, Goodfellas doesn't know how to make sauce. That was the day I was like, all right. Today I was like, nope, Goodfellas doesn't know how to make it. Zach does.
Thank you.
Then the next was the morel omelets. And I didn't want to do anything too crazy. I really wanted the morels to be showcased in it. So just a light bit of sharp cheddar, and then the butter. They use a good like curry butter and just light salt and pepper, and let the morels do their thing. A little bit of shallots, and then I was really trying to do the trifold omelet, you know, to make it look nice and pretty, because like
nice and pretty.
I
took my picture with it.
I need to do that more often at home, because the omelet was the very first thing I ever learned to cook. Okay. I learned to cook it on a 60-second omelet at the state fair. They were like demoing. I think they were demoing pans, like cookware.
Yeah.
And they were like, look, with this pan, you can cook an omelet in 60 seconds. And it basically was just, if you have your mies set up, like it doesn't take that long to cook an omelet, but they were making it. So like,
did you work the state fair?
No, I was just a sucker walking by. I think my mom used to fall for state fair.
I worked the state fair. I was that person trying to get you in and sell you grandfather clocks in high school. That was my high school. Like,
that was the hustle back then.
I mean, I worked the flower and patio show. I've been in the expo hall at the state fair. Like, I know that life. It's kind of like a carny life. Like it's a thing. It's a culture. It's a community.
Definitely a carny life.
Yeah, no, I
Well, I was on the other side of that. I was the all day suckers that were always.
Yeah. Hey, you gave us hope. You gave us entertainment. Like, don't undersell that.
My mom
Did you guys ever buy a hot tub?
No.
Because they got lots of hot tubs.
We were right
sales.
across from the saunas.
How many of those do they sell? I mean, I never see anybody in. I see like one couple strolling through the hot tubs, and I feel like that's a really big purchase.
We were grandfather clocks, and the state fair always did really well. Like for a while, I mean, it was definitely like, I mean, that can be really good. Like in the expo hall and different things. We were across from the saunas, and our booth was right underneath the air conditioning. So it's like August, and it's freaking hot, and I'm in like a jacket free. I'm like, so I'd like take breaks and go to the sauna. I was like, hey Joe, do you mind if I just hop in for another 5 minutes?
I was gonna say, it seems like a hard sell to sell a hot tub when it's like 100 degrees outside too. Like, let's buy this hot tub. But no, there was, I don't know what it was called, but it was basically like Shakedown Street on like one side of the state fair. And there was a guy that always had like real sharp knives. My mom never had money for anything, but for some reason would lose her shirt every year at the state fair. Yeah. Like, she bought these knives. They're real expensive because they could cut through like a tin can. That was like the big thing. I don't know why anyone needs to do that, but my mom bought like a whole set of steak knives one year, and I learned how to cook an omelet at the state fair.
That's a cool story. Yeah. I like that story.
And then Zach, you did the last. We're gonna come back to those grandfather clocks because I want to talk to. I want to talk about your upbringing here in a second. But let's finish off with the dessert there, Zach.
The last thing I did was pretty simple. It was chocolate mousse, and it was just eggs and chocolate.
Eggs and chocolate.
And deliciousness.
Eggs and chocolate.
It makes it sound like so much worse.
I guess it does. Yeah, it was chocolate mousse.
Hey guys, want some eggs and chocolate?
Because I'm pretty sure if you gave me eggs and chocolate, I would not be able to produce what you gave us.
And it's just whipped, and then like when they do it for like restaurant services, is there like gelatin added to it, like when they pipe it.
Probably. Yeah, probably something like that.
Cause I've seen it where like it holds its shape a little bit more. And it has to be gelatin or something, some sort of.
Yeah, I put mine in the freezer.
That's just good.
Yeah. Yummy. I love the presentation too. It was just was it slopped in a bowl? Is that what that was?
Yeah. It looked like camp
I think
food.
originally I was gonna make something else to go with it. And then when I got there I was like, nope, this is just going in a bowl.
You should have had it drizzling out of a chocolate egg.
What? Like a egg full of chocolate?
Like a Easter egg, you know? Like a giant Easter egg just bubbling with chocolate mousse. No. Have you ever?
No.
He's like, no, you get it, and you get it in a bowl.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was also, I was like, I took a first bite, and I was like, this ice cream tastes a little different.
You thought it was ice cream?
I definitely thought
I did too. I
thought it was ice cream as well.
well.
I was like, I'm not the only one right now because I was like looking at this. I'm like, oh, this is warm.
Yeah.
This is the warmest ice cream I've ever had.
The warmest ice cream I've ever had. That's exactly what I thought. Took a first bite. How many eggs were in the mousse?
There were 12 eggs.
12 eggs. Yeah. I feel like I can feel my cholesterol rising right now, bro.
Doctors are mad at us right now.
Doctors are mad at us.
But yeah, so let's talk about this carny upbringing of yours because you said, well, one of the favorite things that I've heard anyone ever say over here before brunch was, I said I saw you, looked at your Facebook to check you out a little bit before we had you on the program, and you had posted this commercial that you had done, and you were great. You were a child, you were a child actor, and you were in this wonderful commercial for what I can only describe as a haunted doll factory.
Oh my gosh!
And
oh man!
And I was like, there has to be a story behind this, and the story was so much better than I could have ever imagined.
You had no idea
no clue
that was
what
a
I was.
Small door to a big fucking world.
Wow.
Yeah. So my upbringing was just full of, I would say, in a way, it was kind of like a circus because everyone was such like an individualized entrepreneur, and which has actually made it been a rough adulthood on going like, oh, there's this whole thing as like corporate.
Yeah, right.
Not everyone's just like has an act.
Yeah, you look like you know someone that trains elephants, like for sure.
No, but remember, I do have someone in my family that manufactured dolls, and to an elephant level size. So my great aunt in the 1980s had this epic story of her at like Toy Fair, and Hasbro executives saw a sculpt that she had made and bought it, and that became a pretty famous doll, a toy of the 80s called My Real Baby. Now, if you really want to start looking at like from time traveling things that do not age well.
Well, are those the babies those are the babies that peed, correct?
But it was kind of before that. This is the 80s. So like I'll bring up some pictures. At some point, but she made bank off of it. Like it broke them into the business. She was kind of the artist that like she did that. And then my grandma started sculpting as well. And they actually ended up moving down to their family farm. And so my grandma had married into this family kind of later in life. So they're related. I know them as relatives 100%, but they also had separate lives beforehand. And so they had this family farm that was in their family for generations, right outside of Bloomington in a town called Heltonville, which is famous for Damon Bailey and Turner Doll Factory. And so they built a couple buildings and legit had like 40 employees, mostly like women in the country, like straight up like Heltonville, Bedford, like area, to manufacture dolls.
Salt of the earth people.
Yeah.
Cranking out dolls.
Really just, yeah.
In a haunted doll factory.
And family farm with like animals and livestock. So like, I mean, we moved down there for 3 years. We lived in a log cabin built in 1834.
What?
Kind of across the field from my grandparents. I have a couple siblings. I have 3 siblings. My parents went down to run the doll factory and help out because it had just gotten so big. My grandma was on QVC all the time, and like they go to Toy Fair. I'd go to some doll shows, just a wide variety. But it would also be like, gotta go rescue the cow that's fallen into the pond and it's too muddy to get out, to like, let's go take catalog pictures for the new dolls.
Now, was there a situation, was this a thing when you were a little girl where you would just get like dolls for Christmas every year and be like, I'm kind of in the business, guys. This is kind of a lame present.
They tested on her.
Man, I may have to send y'all a clip later because
we're watching the commercial at the break.
No. There's some things that like also home families you're not putting on public.
Gotcha.
But one thing that we're actually doing a video for the symphony right now, and I found some VHSs, and there's a clip of my little sister being asked, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "I'm going to the symphony." And I'm like, "Yep, gonna take that personal family video and put it in a commercial for the symphony."
Oh, nice.
So we're really pumped about that. But I was looking at some of them, and one was a family Christmas, and we had like eccentric like play clothes made because there was a sewing factory. So like the level of my princess dresses that I had was like bibbity babbity boo bitch. Like this is next level.
It was child couture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids
pretty much.
hated her. They're like,
For sure. I was like, I got the doll factory.
Well, you're the size of a living doll back then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect.
So, real quick aside, but in college one time I went to IU and there was, the dress up parties during Little Five.
Yeah.
And there was a Tom Cruise theme party. And I'm pretty sure all the guys really wanted the girls to do risky business, like not wear pants.
Yeah.
What do? Jerry Maguire, because I have the doll farm. I went to the farm and I made that little kid. And I went to Kmart and bought mom clothes and showed up with this thing on my hip. And everybody was like, and I didn't really share that I had this in my life. Like I didn't even know how like ridiculous this was until literally like late 20s when it would peek out and people were like, excuse me, what? So yeah, I totally just took it, and it was a blacklight party and it just glowed.
That is amazing.
Yeah, people were very confused.
Was there ever any incidences of any haunted dolls? Any dolls actually being haunted, or?
No. I just one Halloween though. I mean, because we had an old barn, and my brothers and I would just go and take parts and mutilate them and put them in. Like we made our own haunted.
You were like the
we were the puppeteers. We were not afraid.
Yeah,
we were not afraid. We're the makers of dolls.
Yeah,
that's really creepy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because that just means there's just a bin of parts.
There was bins of eyeballs and like wigs, like big boxes of wigs.
So
but they also had a Coke machine, and I thought that's how I thought we were rich. I was like, Grandma, we're rich because we have a Coke machine.
I honestly would like to agree with that, though. I mean,
I thought we were so cool because we had a Coke. I was like, a vending machine.
Yeah, very few people
my
have
family
that.
has a vending machine. This is, oh my God.
I love eccentric family businesses.
Yeah.
Because like one of my best friends from high school, his parents, I think he actually owns it now. But it was they make clothes for strippers. They make stripper clothes or whatever. That was just like in high school. Like, what did your parents do? And he's like, oh, they own this place called Mean Maxine. They make custom clothes for strippers. And it's just like, when you're in high school, the idea of a stripper is so wild and exotic that it's just like, oh my gosh, you do that. So like, and then just to him, it's just like, yeah, that's what my dad does.
But
that's probably the smartest business, to make clothes for like strippers, because like it's probably going to be less clothing.
They're always losing theirs.
So the material has to be thin. You don't have to go overboard. It's
not like they're making parkas.
Exactly.
They're not making down jackets.
Exactly. You don't need wool.
No wool.
There's no wool involved.
There's usually no wool. Usually, I've seen 0 strippers wear cashmere.
Yeah.
I can say that honestly.
You can honestly say that.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Not at night.
No.
When they're on the pole, but maybe the next day.
Oh yeah, I'm sure during their life they do.
Yeah. No.
Actually,
Yeah.
They're
Do you want to be clear
charging
on
you
Harder Brunch?
adequately.
Do you want to be clear on Harder Brunch? Strippers can have cashmere,
Yeah,
strippers-
just saying.
but not at the
Have
job.
you
It's not
seen
appropriate.
J-Lo in Hustlers?
I have. It's been a while.
That's a good movie.
I also was I believe this year when I realized that cashmere is a type of goat. I didn't know that that's where that came from.
I didn't know that either.
I may have been today years old when I learned that
Goat
detail.
hair. Oh, am I breaking news here on Harder Brunch? Yeah.
I mean,
I
it doesn't
eat
surprise me or surprise me, but
I eat cashmere.
All right.
I mean, it's goat, right?
Yeah.
It's not just another word for goat.
Do you eat the fur or the meat?
Listen, I've had some hairy meat before in my days.
Have you?
Oh yeah, man.
not going to touch this one.
Oh, that's what I thought I was gonna say, but I put it in my
I'm
mouth,
just
and
gonna
it
back
was
up and
gross. No, you'd have to like take off the hair sometimes, because the way they make goat in some countries, there's still like little specks of hair. And
Are you talking about Haiti?
Well, I didn't want to throw them under the bus.
I'm like, what all countries have
he
you
was
had
keeping
goat
it
in?
light and easy, and you just were like, "Wait, what?"
It was like, settle down there, Anthony Bourdain. This is like in my travels around the globe.
Okay,
There's lots of countries.
one, that was a good diss. The Anthony Bourdain. No, anyways, let's move on from that.
All right, let's go ahead and take a break and reset. Then we'll come back and eat some more goat pies.
Cashmere Chewables by Thaddeus Dundee. I'm changing my name.
Gen Z can't stop raving about the Harder Brunch Patreon.
Patreon.com/Harder Brunch slaps.
No cap, the Harder Brunch Podcast is bussin' on God.
Move over, Boomer. Gen Z's here to talk to you about the Harder Brunch Patreon.
Harder Brunch Podcast on Patreon, $3 a month, low key is steal.
The Harder Brunch Podcast deadass has me bricked up every day.
Listen to these all totally real testimonials.
No, like I'm getting paid to do this, don't worry. Yeah. No, you think I do this for free? No.
The Harder Brunch Podcast deadass slaps. Sound younger! The Harder Brunch Podcast deadass slaps.
Just go to patreon.com/Harder Brunch.
The Patreon After Brunch Podcast hits different. That shit makes you feel shit.
Welcome back to the Harder Brunch Podcast. We got a very special a treat for you guys in studio, Thad. I got a very special treat. Have you ever heard of Londo's Flameade?
Londo's Flameade.
Yeah. So,
I did just a second ago. That was the first time.
So this is not a paid promotion or anything. This is just something that I wanted to get. This guy is up at 46 in Keystone.
You owe him money?
And no, I don't owe him money and anything. This was just like a product I wanted to try out for a while. And every time I'm up there, it's on Mondays and they're closed. So I was driving around and I was like, oh man, I was like, it's Friday, they're open. I went in, I got a slushie, which was phenomenal. I got the they have rotating slushie machines in there. So I got a slushie machine and then I got these two different flavors to go. And it was all like super reasonably priced. I was actually surprised. I was just like, oh yeah, I guess I'm just getting drink, like, but I guess, I don't know, Zach, you said you've been following this guy's business for a while. Like what has attracted you? Because there is an attractive thing to it. Again, this is not a commercial. I've never tried this before. I'm going to try it. We're all going to try it here in the studio. But there is like an attractiveness about his social media persona or presence or something.
Yeah, no, he kills it on social media. I mean, when I had my business, he was one of the people I would kind of follow and see what he's up to. Because, I would see him like, I'd see him like a lot of photos of his like clientele, like him dropping off stuff. And I was always just curious because he just kills it on social media. And I mean, I think it's a lot just like he builds a really good community and he's got people, returning regularly to get his product. No, I mean, I've been aware of since, for 4 or 5 years now.
So are you friends with him?
No, I've never met
Are you
Rondo.
friends with him?
No, never met him.
I never want to do a free advertisement again. We are wasting money here. And if this does taste bad, are we allowed to say? Are we allowed to puke?
Yeah, I mean,
what are the rules?
Sad. We've gone over this a million times. You're always allowed to puke.
Thank you. I thought that was still the rule.
Yeah.
We always say that.
Now, Heather, we got 2 flavors here. We got tropical or pineapple.
Which one's pineapple?
Not the tropical one.
Which
It's
one's
a Midwestern
tropical.
Tropical. Now, also, one of the selling points of this is that they says it goes great with it goes great as a mixer. So I did also bring some tequila down here. Would you like a little skosh?
Yes, please.
All right, put a little skosh in there, and then you know what? I think maybe a little bit more tropical on top. Boom.
Finish it with the floater.
I did just look at their Instagram. They are
smells good.
impressive.
Oh wow.
Foxy, would you like just a tropical or pineapple?
And honestly, Flameade is a really good name for a drink.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what it is. It's just the name.
Well, and one of the things that I liked, can you pass that to Foxy? One of the things that I liked was this disclaimer on here on the bottle. It says Londo's Flameade, freeze it. They don't water down.
Okay. Like that's something somebody was coming to the store like hey, it's gonna water down if I freeze it. Like,
yeah, wait.
I'm gonna put it on the bottle. It does not water down.
You had to have so many people worried about the watering down thing. I mean, the product's great, but I can't freeze it, can I? Of course you can. How many times do I have to say it? You know what? Just put it on the sticker. Put it on the sticker. Zach, do you want which one?
I want the pineapple.
Pineapple. Would you like a little tequila in there?
I want to try it straight up.
Straight up. All right. And Daddy's Jay.
I like how he rolls, shaken not stirred.
Pass that down.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the tropical.
Tropical.
Many people say that my personality is tropical.
Yeah.
And I get offended. I'm going.
Yeah.
I do want the tequila, but like
try it
I like
first?
this straight up first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try it straight up first. You know what? I'm gonna do a little tequila and then I'm gonna do a little pineapple.
You're like, I will just try the tequila first.
I'm just gonna try the tequila, guys.
I'm just gonna go with the tequila.
Guys,
you know what? So looking at their Instagram and
let me see the tequila.
They seem like they're very unapologetically authentic.
Yeah.
That has a certain vibe to it that is just like that captures all audiences. When you're unapologetically authentic, you're just like, yeah, this was like this could have been like a family feud or like an argument, so we put it on a sticker. Like it's no water, like it's just what it is. you know,
I do like
there's something really attractive about that because it almost cuts through the noise by not trying to shout. It's just it is what it is.
Cheers,
and
everyone.
That's cool.
Cheers.
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 To everyone except Foxy.
Spacebar magic.
Oh my gosh. Are you sure this doesn't water down when it freezes?
Not according to the sticker. Also, I didn't freeze it, so I can't tell you for sure. I made a little cocktail. I went 80 pineapple, 20 tropical.
You went rogue.
Man, this is
You
really
may not
delicious.
be able to do that if it was actually sponsored. They might be like, no.
Yeah.
Product quality control. I don't know, probably not.
I don't know. It didn't make me throw up. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's very
That's
good.
a really high bar. That's a high bar.
I know there was some concern.
Oh, man.
What about you,
You'd have to be a real show jumper to jump that one.
I like the drink, but I don't like the person that makes it.
Oh.
Like
The bartender.
yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh.
I thought you meant Londo.
Yeah, I thought you were like
what
taking a
Londo
deeper
do to
dig.
you?
It's like, I
No.
thought you just heard about this.
No, I'm talking about Londo. Londo,
Yeah,
I don't
Londo.
know what you're up to. You're making too good of juice. I'm suspicious. It's great.
I will say this: he seems to sell this like someone with like the tenacity of someone selling like CDs out of the back of their car in the 90s. You know,
love that.
That's what I mean, unapologetically
Yeah,
authentic.
like-
Like, you will like this because it is delicious.
This is what we're doing. Yeah, and I'm just very excited about it. Just like I love those kind of like little niche products where it was just like when I realized I was on that side of town, I was just like, I'm gonna go in there, and I saw the slushy machines going, and I saw everything, and I was just like, this is great. Like I can't even compare this to another business, you know.
So it's funny that you say, because like that's actually how I was raised, and I love small business, and I think that like I don't know, personally, I've not seen a lot of culture of small business, but what you're talking about is what I know and love. What I've seen is we have a lot of love for like tech. We have a lot of love for like money in business, but there is so much for like the culture of small business that I actually really like about kind of there's not a lot that I love about the American dream traditionally, but to me, I'm like, oh, this one I can actually like, I saw my parents, like get a bottle of wine and like decide how they were going to decorate the windows on Main Street at Christmas time. And my mom like brought so much creativity to it. And they like, it was actually like a really cute date night for them. And I was like, that's adorable. And like, I think that slowing down and like being able to enjoy and like kind of be there with it is a fun thing. Like even with, getting into the culinary world, I think that that's a world that still has a lot of passion and art and like fuel that makes it different than a lot of businesses. And that small business is its own thing too. Like we got it. Like I sent a Instagram direct message like popcorn or just pop in. And Mandy like responded. She's like, hey, this is Mandy, one of the owners. I'd like love to chat. And like, you just like feel the passion on Instagram. And I think that's really cool about like, to me, that's what I love about small business.
Absolutely.
It's the micro moments that may not be super sexy on LinkedIn or super sexy like on all the things, but that's actually what makes life so much more fun is those like micro moments that, live in the culture of it.
Yeah. Have you happened to see the movie Pig with Nicolas Cage?
No.
I highly suggest watching it. It's kind of, I don't want to say like a bait and switch movie, but like if you see the preview, it almost seems like it's going to be kind of like a John Wick kind of like, it seems, it's a very...
I've seen a preview for it, Can.
Yeah.
I think maybe not Can, but
it seems almost like a thriller or like a horror movie or whatever, and it's definitely intense at some parts, but it has this completely unexpected twist at the end of the movie, and it's very much in the lane of what you were talking about, and I cannot recommend it more highly. I thought it was going to be one kind of movie,
such a weird actor
and it switched up, but it definitely has this through line about like the culinary scene of a city, and it's I guess the broad strokes of it is that this guy was like the most famous chef in like Seattle or something, and his wife dies, and he can become a recluse, and he just hunts truffles with this pig, and then someone comes and steals his pig, and then so
it is like a John Wick meets like
but instead of like going in like you think it's gonna like, okay, that sounds just like John Wick, he's gonna go and like beat everyone up, but it kind of takes this different turn.
Does it reintroduce him to humanity?
Yeah, he has to go back, and
that's where I thought maybe that could go. That would be very cool.
Deal
to
with
watch.
people, and then I don't know. It's got a twist at the end that I can't even tease it, or I'll give it away. But I'd highly recommend watching it.
You guys know, like he's an interesting dude. Do you guys know much about like Nicolas Cage's career and like his family?
No.
Let's
go.
God.
I mean, I've seen a lot of his movies. I mean, we celebrate Con Air Day here, of course.
I mean, how could you not? What is he like? Forgot the bunny? Like, there's just so many. It was on TV all the time as kids.
Well, yeah, every year.
They must have had a syndication deal with Con Air that was just like, run it again. What do we got? Run it again. What do we got? Run it again. Because that was on all the time.
We celebrate it here every July 14th. We have people over. We make a big pot of chili, Con Air Day, and we watch Con Air. We have people that haven't seen it since the 90s and people that have never seen it before.
Do you guys do that with Fifth Element? Because that's one of my jams.
We could do a double feature. We should do a double feature.
It's Fifth Element, like Gary Oldman too. I mean, have you guys seen Fifth Element?
Oh yeah.
I fell asleep. To be fair.
Anyway.
To be fair,
did you
I was
feel the
tired.
weight of that sigh?
I felt
so
it.
much sass in that sigh.
I felt it.
That's not even a good one to fall asleep to.
To be fair, Thad falls asleep during most movies.
All right. So that's where he's at. But
he also tends to put movies on really late at night after he's been drinking.
Got it.
So it's kind of a recipe for bedtime.
So he's Nicolas Cage is the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, and then therefore cousin
in real life.
Real life.
I didn't know
Real
that.
life. He's also struggled with debt and finances. He
we've
has
seen
been
the
completely
movies.
bankrupt. Yeah, I know, right? So that's like one of the most interesting things. Like he's got this career where he's either like super spot on or like absolutely ridiculous. And then there's actually a movie that I've not seen out right now, but it's basically him playing a version of himself. It's
Yeah.
very meta. We're like,
Yeah.
it's like a failed actor that needs the money, so he takes an acting gig.
And his name's Nick Cage, right?
It's played by Nicolas- I haven't seen it yet,
It
but
was
like,
very interesting.
Yeah.
And I got halfway through that. I owe you money for that on Prime. I bought that off your account. Anyways, did not watch it all the way.
we didn't even watch it all the way.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm a bad guy
I
when it
think you
comes
should
to
have to
that.
pay double if you didn't even finish it.
Well,
I feel like that's the new clause. Yeah, we can write that in. See, I need you on my team. I need you.
there's the
Can you be my
finance
manager just for my life, or just
for my
You have
roommate
to pay, you have
situation.
to
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
retail price if you buy a movie off my account. I'm charging interest.
Yeah.
If you didn't even gain anything from
definitely
it, you're
be-
gonna learn these lessons one way or another.
definitely be some late fees. Well, we do have a video, Thad. We talked about it earlier, and I wanted a chance to watch it. But this is Heather as her role. I don't want to say the year. We don't want to date this, but it looks like it was a couple years ago. This is a little back in the day.
Yeah.
And this is for the family business.
One of.
One of the family businesses.
Yeah. There was
Very-
doll
very
shops
excited.
within doll shops.
My Mother's Doll Shop has the latest in doll creations.
Hey, it's my mother's doll shop.
Create a lifetime memory as you adopt your very own baby at My Mother's Doll Shop.
For the last time, it's my mother's doll shop. That's the name of the story, silly. Oh yeah, never mind.
My Mother's Doll Shop for the young and young at heart. Located on Main Street in beautiful downtown Zionsville.
I have some questions.
Well, first off, just one statement because we don't want to go down this rabbit hole. But remember, off camera before we talked about this, how your first TV appearance stays with you. Well, apparently I'm living proof.
What exactly were you wearing in that commercial? Because it looked like you were wearing scrubs at first, and then I was like, well, why would she be wearing scrubs? And I was like, is she wearing a doll? Was that a princess suit?
That was a Scrubs. Like, yeah, because talk about weird first jobs. My evolution of weird first jobs because, family businesses. So my aunt had this My Mother's Doll Shop, which actually was very true in name. You talked about how businesses get their name. Well, her mother manufactured dolls. So it was like her mother's doll shop. And then the name of the store was My Mother's Doll Shop.
Gotcha. Now, were you related to the other girls in there?
Yeah, that was my cousin Lauren.
Because I got it.
And their neighbor Felicia.
No shade on them. They were shit actors. Okay,
No,
they were.
Lauren, actually, I think she was better. She was like real white. She was like, but it's my mother's doll. I think I was the one looking like I cannot be bothered.
No, you
I
were.
think I actually was a little like, man, honey, you could have been a little bit more dramatic. Obviously, I've learned.
You carried that entire commercial. You did look like
my vote's Lauren. I vote Lauren.
You did look like a young queen up there. You're just
I was literally
this is My Mother's Doll Shop.
So, but no. So one of my jobs. So it was kind of cool. She had this. Build-A-Bear had just kind of popped up at the time. So what she did was she actually had probably 100 square foot nursery that she built into the shop. And so little kids would not go buy a doll, they would go adopt a baby.
Oh.
Which, when you actually think about it, is like really fucking weird.
And America practices adopting with like the little kids.
But also part of the adoption process is physically making your baby.
No, that part, yeah, that's for Build-A-Bear.
I don't mind to have long arms.
First off, now we're getting into some like Adolfo
Eugenics.
Huxley, like utopian Vonnegut stuff. If we're like, yeah, build a baby.
Mine's gonna be a basketball player.
Build the perfect white baby.
So wait, are they engineering or are they making the plastic as well?
At the manufacturing. So grandma did that. But it was vinyl, and there was ovens that pulled vinyl, or it was a porcelain. I do know all of the facts on this. But My Mother's Doll Shop, which is what this was a store on Main Street.
Yeah.
And so they had a little nursery where you would just go in and like the babies were like in little cradles, and I went through the adoption process. I had like papers. I was Nurse Heather. At
Does anybody get turned down?
15, I was like, I'm Nurse Heather. And I like went, so what's funny is you asked me if I acted.
Yeah.
And like really, yeah. In my family business as a nurse adopting out babies to
Yeah.
children,
How-
getting paid like $5.50 an hour.
I have a lot of questions. I have two
Yeah.
questions as well.
Yeah, how old were you when you
Yeah.
were doing the Nurse Heather bit?
I mean, that was like, I was in high school. Like, I did eventually leave it all when I got into babysitting. I was like, yo, family, they pay cash and I get to eat Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I want the real babies.
You are like, you're not paying me enough because I clean clocks. I worked at, when we were down at the business for the manufacturing.
I like how you said that was a totally normal thing. You're like, I clean clocks on the side.
Clean clocks until I broke my like Walkman, and then I was like, Dad, you don't pay me enough. I'm out of here.
Cleaning clocks, I'm adopting fake babies.
Well,
normal high school stuff.
There's a lot of dusting with clocks.
What was your question, Dad?
Okay, do any of the kids get turned down for the adoption? Like you have a messy room,
unfit mother,
yeah, stuff like that.
That's the like SNL skit.
Or there's like they want a certain baby from a certain country. Like actually, there's a war going on there right now, so it's going to be slow.
Honey. This is Main Street, Zionsville.
They were all white babies.
These kids got whatever they wanted, and they got it in the form of an experience.
In the 80s, I can't imagine there was even a black baby doll in Zionsville.
Oh,
in Zionsville, there's probably still not a black baby doll.
No, Zionsville's pretty good. Their mayor is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to their mayor. I like their mayor.
Okay. I don't know a lot of mayors.
Yeah.
So
oh no, you guys will have to check it. Emily, she causes quite a stir, and like she's
was she the one that
she's a force.
She cussed famously.
Yeah,
I did read it.
She was like, I'm the fucking mayor, of this town. And
dude, if I was the mayor of anything, I would say that once a day. Excuse me, I'm the fucking mayor.
Yeah.
Maybe we send these pancakes back, okay?
No, so Zionsville's kind of changing. Like younger families that are like, I want schools and some grass, and I've got money. Zionsville, move over and change. And Zionsville's like, oh well, you got the money. And then there's some key people in there, and I think like Emily's doing some fun stuff. I like her. I'm like, you keep it going, girl, but that's probably not easy.
My other question is, I just wonder about doll factories or when they're producing that. Like, what's the crossover? Because there's a lot of extra plastic. Are they actually making other stuff as well? Like, is Halliburton involved in these doll plants? I don't know. I just want to do some more research. I think it'd be a good documentary where you go deep behind. I'm boring myself as I say.
No, it's okay. You're actually just describing my childhood. Where you go deep into a doll factory. That's my upbringing.
Yeah.
It's like a dark documentary.
You thought it was just a doll factory.
Childhood.
The real question is, do you have a connection? So like Thad has a grandfather clock that his actual grandfather made, but it does not currently work. Do you have a service mechanic or someone that knows how to fix grandfather clocks?
They did close it a couple years ago. I probably have it in my Rolodex.
You know someone in the game.
I could be that connector if needed, but I'd probably have to make a few phone calls.
Because it seems like a very small,
it's a thing.
small community.
It is.
Maybe I like it being broken because there's something poetic about a broken clock.
Yeah.
Right?
It's right twice a day.
Amen. That's what I always say.
I just always think it's interesting.
That's a nice positive spin. I can respect the positive spin on that.
Thank you. That's what I do.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting when you see things like pinball machine repair, or like, you know, there used to be some TV repairs, like the big screen TVs.
Yeah.
I think you just get a new one now.
Yeah, now, I mean, I'm sure people that fix VCRs are busy all the time. I'm sure they have no days off because there's not a lot of them. You know what I'm saying?
I actually think that's been done and gone, just like the doll business.
No,
there's probably
I think that target market has there's none.
But there's some people that still want them. Like you can.
There's enough grandparents that
there's enough people
that man.
That I feel like the ones that are still in business are always busy.
Yeah, you're talking like they're getting swamped. I can't stand this anymore. Like they're busy all the time. I don't know if that.
I don't think that's.
All right, well,
I think we should interview
clocks
one.
were pretty
there's
busy.
Not a spike of that.
But there's still and like I
but nobody's going into it either.
Yeah.
Do you know what a curio cabinet is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I
do, but can you explain it for our listeners?
So, right? Because, but I had an employee, and she was like, what's a curio cabinet? Yeah. And I was like, oh, God, this is my parents' business, faded. Which then, what you set next to the curio cabinet was your dolls. So I was like, I got to stand witness at, a couple of these things, how, generationally, it just, we went to technology.
When do you think
it was really interesting? But
when do you think
a curio. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, finish your curio. I have a question.
It's basically a big glass cabinet dome for you keep your your goodies. There's actually a great play called The Glass Menagerie that's kind of like that. So it's kind of like what you hold fragile.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of times like more traditionally with families too, like you pass down things that are fragile and you would display them.
I
so
think
it's
my mom had
interesting how
one,
the
yeah.
culture has even shifted around it. Now, I mean, then you get some people that have like some folks that have tons of curios and there's all like these like spoons from places they've traveled and like, you know, like, but it's, you know, collecting things has actually kind of, that culture comes in and out, but it's kind of been on the out.
This is a spoon from Muncie, Indiana. Got this in Muncie.
And I will pass it down to you, and you shall cherish it forever in your curio cabinet.
My mom
didn't work out.
My mom had a doll because my grandma was from France, so my mom had a doll that she had gotten from France and named it Katrina Marie, and she had it like well into like I remember this doll just always being around somewhere in the house, but that was supposed to be my name if I was a girl. I was going to be Katrina Marie, named after this creepy doll my mom that she had. I think all dolls are kind of creepy. I don't know why. I think it's...
There's a Heather Jane doll. You guys, if I knew we were going to do this, I would have brought the Heather Jane doll.
They named a doll after you?
Yeah, no, it was sculpted after me.
Whoa.
Like I sat. No, that one, it'd have to be a deeper search. I don't think it's as easily accessible, but I can send it.
So they did a mold of your face?
No, I sat there.
Wait.
I sat there as my grandmother sculpted it.
Oh, I thought you meant like a bottom mold. I was very confused.
No. But my brother, when he was like a little, like he was probably like 6, 5. They put his hands in a cast and like cast his hands, and they were like the best-selling female doll.
Your brother's hands?
Yeah, so my brother, like my dad would tease and be like, your hands are on the best-selling female doll that we had for Turner Dolls.
That's the
worst. It
worst.
was like $500 a pop. Her name was Ivory. That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Did you know that you have girl doll arms like you were the prototype?
Did he get cut in on any of this money, or did he just get made fun of?
No, he just had all the childhood trauma to carry with him.
Wow.
Yeah. Good stories. We get, then apparently it just comes back to haunt you a podcast.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, trust me, if I was in a commercial when I was a child, I would probably make people watch it. Like,
oh, no,
I was in a protest video as a child, and I had it on a VHS tape for years, and then I remember, like, I was in my mid-20s, and I wanted to show somebody, and I went to my grandma's house, and I was like, hey, Grandma, where's that tape when I was on the news? And she just, like, snapped around like I had, like, caught her in like the middle of a deep family secret, and she just started bawling, and she's like, your grandfather taped that over 2 years ago, Michael. I was like just bawling, and I was just like, and then I ended up having to like console her, and I was like, it's fine, it's okay. This is mildly disappointing, but like pull yourself together, Grandma.
First off, what protest was it at? You're burying the lead.
My grandparents were big environmentalists. They were part of like the Audubons. They were I grew up in a bird watching family, so I'm not making fun of the doll factory at all, because
I think it was very clear we're all weirdos here, and that's like a weirdo and proud. You know?
Absolutely. But because of that, we ended up going. It was some sort of environmental rally at the State House downtown. We were carrying protest signs. I don't remember. But I got kind of it was hot. It was just like, and like a protest is boring if you're a kid. Like it's not fun. It's not a fun child activity. I was like, I liked yelling at first when we got there for like 5 minutes, and then it was
like, why are we angry?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
And I knew we were protesting on the behalf of the environment, but like I was probably 7 years old, like a little kid.
That why isn't secured enough in you.
Yeah. And then I remember like I was sitting on this kind of like ledge, and they got done, and the news always does this where they interview all the regular people, and then they just want to get like one goofy segment in. And so it's like, usually it's like, let's interview like the craziest person around, or like a child, like, or like someone that's obviously inebriated.
Yep.
And so they just gave it to me, and they were like, do you want to be on the news? And I was like, sure. And then they were like, why are you here? And I was like, people are polluting the world. They should stop doing that. And then they put that in the end, and like we ran home before the news, and I popped a VHS tape in, and like recorded it from the news, and that was like my claim to fame for.
That would have been. That's a good. Yeah. I feel like that's a good first TV appearance.
I called the.
That's really your first TV appearance, right? But then your family was like, destroy the evidence.
Destroy it.
Take Jerry Springer right now.
We don't know how this is gonna go.
I called a few years ago to see if I could get it. Like maybe they had a tape somewhere, and I was like, yeah, I was on the news segment, and it was like the summer of '88. They were like, yeah, man, we don't. It's not like still
like,
here.
It's not in the cloud.
No, yeah.
The cloud didn't exist then, you fool. Oh, well, speaking of, so I have a question, if that's all right, because I have a weird one.
Well, you get one per episode, so use it wisely.
Oh, well, I'm just going to go for it. What's the weirdest thing you collect?
Do
you collect anything? And you can take it abstract, but like, what do you collect anything? What's the weirdest thing you collect?
Waffle irons.
Yeah?
I have so many waffle irons.
Oh, what's the story?
I don't really have a story. Like, I just see them and I think of the possibilities. I've got a waffle bowl maker. I've got a little Darth Vader. I've got a little baby Yoda.
They're different shapes, though, right?
Yeah, they're different shapes. So. Each one's different. I got like circus animal waffles. I got like.
And you have children. It makes it less weird that you have small children.
Yeah, but I had the waffle irons before the.
You're not helping. You know.
This is amazing. We have to do a what shaped.
No,
we do a costume party and with like different shaped. Because everybody just come in different shapes and characters.
Yeah.
And make that a party. Can we please make that happen?
No, but that and cookie cutters. We've got hundreds of cookie cutters.
Wow. What's some of the weirdest or obscure ones that you have?
Genitals.
I like the sandwich cutters.
I know someone that does have a waffle maker that's a genital form. There's sex therapists that I met in my pottery class.
There's sex waffles?
Sorry.
you just sit him down around.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to do for the next week.
Yeah. No, I'll introduce you. No, she said that
it's all right. You're in a safe space.
Yeah, I know, right? But she was like, the penis one can get a lot different forms out of it versus the vagina one because penis you can do like corn dogs, but she has this like molds and actually there is what is it? Smelly Bits. Smelly Bits on Instagram. She does penis soaps. Out of this mold. Yeah, dick soaps.
Are we talking about soaps that smell like dick?
Like soaps that you can rub all your body and like get clean with.
That look smell like penis.
Imagine.
No, they don't smell. No. They look like them.
They look like them, but they don't exactly smell like
No. You want the visual, not the smell.
Well,
come on, let's think about this one.
What was the name
called again? Did you use your brain on that Smelly Bits?
Exactly.
But it's a play on words.
Well, yeah, it can play both ways, sister.
But yeah, check that out on Instagram.
My uncle was actually doing...
So other things you collect. Didn't mean to take us down that rabbit hole.
So again, weird family. Both my grandparents were scientists. My grandma was what was called a teratologist, and she worked for Dow, and they actually did a lot of... they did some animal testing, so there was some stuff going on there. And then but they were also huge animal lovers. Like we had a lot of pets growing up, and my mom worked for a late night animal emergency clinic. And so one time this cat went into birth and had a kitten that had 2 heads. It was born with 2 heads. It died almost immediately, but then they dropped it into a jar of formaldehyde. And then just like an old coffee jar and just a formaldehyde, and then just like threw it in a cabinet somewhere. And when I was 6 years old, I was sitting eating cereal, and this cabinet door kind of pops open, and I just see this like hideous creature, and I'm just like, "Mommy, like what is that?" And she was like, "Oh, don't be scared. It's just a 2-headed cat floating in formaldehyde." And I was just like, can I take that to show and tell? Yeah. And she was like, yeah. And I smashed show and tell for like 8 years. I just ran it back the same trick every year. Oh, yeah, you got some G.I. Joe's? Cool. He-Man? You got He-Man? That's cool. Yeah, He-Man's real. Anyone ever seen a 2-headed cat? A real live freak show?
Yeah.
We had that, and then like rat fetuses and stuff encased in glass, and those like weird kind of stuff like that. But like we had like a science room. And that was kind of our menagerie. But I didn't necessarily collect them. It was just like the families.
But you're exposed to that. And also kudos for you for like seeing the instant avenue with it of like show and tell. Like it actually took me a while to like start bringing out the Doll Factory story. I was just like, this is normal.
Yeah.
Versus my brother who's a little bit more in sales. He's like, nah, I've had that one. That's been my like my winning card since like 20. I'm like, no, I thought that was really normal and cool. And like, I didn't even know this was weird. That's how weird I am. But yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
What about you, Thad? Did you collect anything as a kid?
No, I really didn't. Like, I liked slingshots when I was younger. I like.
What about as an adult?
As an adult, I'm more just of a media dude. Like, I like making videos, so I'm not collecting anything.
Shoes? You have a lot of shoes?
Yeah.
I got. No, I'm not
you're not
actual
like
shoe head.
You're not a. I think that's what they call them, shoe heads.
Shoe heads?
Yeah.
What is it?
Shoe-ins, I believe they call them.
Sneakerheads? It's sneakerheads. Which is close.
A shoe-in is a sneakerhead that has agoraphobia.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Dad.
Yeah, all right.
I don't even know if it was a boo. But it was like, all right.
So I collect vinyl, like records, non-music.
Oh, like
It's
what?
like my weird thing, but like
Screams
there's like
and cries?
propaganda.
Oh, okay.
There's like theater. Like I've got like there's spoken word. I have Charlton Heston reads Old Man of the Sea. But it's only one of 2 discs, so it's like the bridge version. But it's like so good.
Is it the second half?
No, it's the first and the end. So it's literally
just
bridge.
missing
it's like
the middle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I'm not gonna lie, listening to it, I'm like, oh my God, that's a very like romantic, gut wrenching story. And I was on the IU Bass fishing team, so a fishing story is like something that I'm really into. Because remember, Doll Factory also had farm, so 2 fishing farms.
You see how she just sneaks these stories in?
Yeah,
Well,
we're at the end of the podcast,
wanna...
and you just bearing the lead that you were on the IU Bass fishing team. Oh my gosh. Do you keep up with the fishing world?
No, I'm not gonna lie. That was one that I really didn't understand. I was like, there's one thing that I'm finding really interesting is like the different cultures that value outdoors and nature, but then there's still like different cultures. Like, I went on a date the other day and he was like, I love nature. And I was like, okay, you are like, your family culture with like nature is like agricultural and sailing. Mine is a little bit more Appalachian. I'm going to teach you how to go jugging and eat turtle. And he was
jugging and eating turtle.
He was like, I love nature. I was like, oh, do you fish? He's like, no, I wear boat shoes. And I was like, okay, well, I can tell you that a turtle's heart will beat outside of its body for at least 20 minutes, 25 if you poke it.
Those things will keep going for an entire day.
Like, right.
So we had a pond and we pulled a snapping turtle out, and then, we made turtle soup from it, and we cut the head off, turned it upside down, and then the next day we came out, cracked it open, and its heart was still beating.
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
All right, the name of these either be sex waffle or jugging and eating turtle.
I think we got a couple events like that we need to do. I think now we got to like eat some turtle. I think we got to follow up. Here's a brunch menu.
Can you drop a beat for me there, Zach?
I do want to say real quick.
Yeah.
The fishing team has to be the boringest tryouts ever. All right, guys. Throwing holes in.
Let me in.
Who just let you in? I was like,
oh, see, you're saying that wrong. You'd be like, I walked on to the IU.
walk on. Yeah.
Heather, where can people find you and follow you on social media?
Oh, on social media, we got a couple here. So Porch Marketing on Instagram and kind of all the things is where you can find my company, Popcorn with Culinary Crossroad Initiative. Please give us all the follows. And me personally, just kind of H Brogden on Instagram and kind of working on some of that. But that's where you'll find the really weird Doll Factory commercials, et cetera, et cetera.
Nice. That is Jay.
You can find me at Thad McKee on Instagram and Twitter. I'm out here on Twitter, so give it a follow. Give me a goog.
Zach Rome.
You can also find me at Thad McKee on all social media.
Nice.
It's a joint account.
Yeah.
It was cute the way you guys both put your faces in the photo. I like that.
Sharing the love.
You can check out harderbrunch.com for all your merch needs. Also, check us out. We have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/harderbrunch. We put out bonus content every week. Guys, it's a full-ass show. It's a fun time. It's where, Thad gets into some of his, more controversial ideas, about the shape of the earth, and that sort of thing. Also, you can find me at Oblong Earth. You can also find me at Dyke Michaels on all social media. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.